and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be giving you some recommendations of fantasy books that feel like fairy tales. None of these books are fairy tale retellings, but they feel like a good fairy tale. They have that structure, they have the elements, they've got the magic. There's probably a little bit of a love story in each of these as well. This video is also part 2 to my last video that I made, in which I talk all about fairy tale retellings. So if you're interested in some fairy tale retelling recommendations, go check out that video after you finished watching this one. Let's get into the recommendations. First on this list is a book that I just finished recently and really love. It is called The Swan's Daughter by Roshani Chokshi. I love this book. It's so good. A couple of years ago, I read another book by the same author because I had heard that it's like a gothic fairy tale and the writing is just very lyrical and descriptive and poetic. I heard all of those things and I said, yes, I must read that. And I picked up the book. I really liked this writing and I really wanted there to be way more fairy tale than there was. That was the last tale of the Flower Bride. Even though I was a little bit disappointed leaving that book, I knew I had to read The Swan's Daughter because this book is a fairy tale. The story is set within this like fairy tale storybook feeling kingdom. Our main character is the daughter of a magical swan who can make people tell the truth whenever she sings. The main character, Demelza, has to leave her home because of her father's ambition to become immortal. And in that mission, he has to sacrifice her. She flees because she doesn't want her father to kill her. And the only place that her father cannot get to her is the royal palace. So this young girl goes to the royal palace to see if they will take her in, give her sanctuary. And you want to know what's happening at the royal palace when she gets there? A competition for the prince's hand in marriage. And so Demelza joins this competition, but not because she's interested in marrying the prince, just because she needs to get away from her father. The prince is a little bit wary of all of these women who are competing to marry him. One, because he's a prince and maybe they're just in it for the power and the money and that kind of thing. But also there's a curse on his family that makes it so that anybody who kills him gets some sort of magical power. And so he's also worried that these women are here just to try and kill him to get magical powers. He and Demelza come together and figure out that she can use her power to make people tell the truth to keep him safe. And so they are working together to try and find him somebody who's in the competition for the right reasons. And the story goes on from there. I won't say anything else other than I loved the writing in this just as much as I loved the writing in The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. But you combine that like lyrical, descriptive writing in a fairy tale fantasy world, and it's just so much more magical. So much more magical. I really liked this one. Next is The River Has Roots. This is a fairy tale about two sisters who live in a small town on the edge of a magical river, and one of the sisters falls in love with a fairy from the fairy realm that's on the other side of the river, and the obstacles that both of these sisters are faced with because of this forbidden relationship between one of the sisters and a fairy. So there's some darkness to this, there's some whimsy to it. It's a short novella, so if you want something quick to read, this is a great one. I really liked the magic system in this world because it's all about words and poetry and the way you put words together, and it's grammar. Grammar is magic in this world. It was very clever and unique and very memorable to me. The last book I'm going to recommend to you is One Dark Window. This is yet another fairy tale feeling fantasy book that has some darkness to it, that is a little bit gothic feeling. It's set in this kingdom that's overrun by mist, and this young woman has a dark spirit inhabiting her mind. Because of this, she has access to some magic. In this world, magic comes in the form of cards. Like you use these like tarot-like cards in order to use magic. And if you can get a full set of cards, then you're the most powerful and you can do whatever. Nobody has a full set of cards, but this young woman is recruited by a dark brooding nobleman who's trying to collect a full set of these cards so that he can cure a family member of his. He finds out that Elspeth can somehow sense these cards, so they're working together to try and find these cards so that he can heal his family member. But the more that Elspeth uses her magic in this mission to find all of these cards, the more she's losing herself to this spirit, this monster, this nightmare that's living in her head. If you like the dark gothic fairy tales, this one's a great one. For the next book that I want to talk about, this is one of the books that got me back into reading a couple of years ago that really reminded me how much I really love reading. This book is Tress of the Emerald Sea. It is about a young girl who lives on an island. She's in love with her best friend, but one day her best friend goes on a journey at sea and is lost at sea. And when she discovers that he's lost at sea, she decides to go after him, see if she can find him and save him. I just loved this book. This book is on the more comedic side of things. This book is inspired by The Princess Bride, and so it does have this lighthearted comedic tone, and the narrator of this book is its own character, and so they sometimes go off on little tangents about their experience within the story or their thoughts looking back at the story. And because of this commentary that you get kind of interspersed throughout the story, I just really liked that and thought it was really fun. And I just love the main character too. There were parts of her story that I really related to, and that she just comes into herself and becomes more confident in herself over the course of this journey, and I loved to see that. And it's just great. It's super fun. I liked it a lot. I highly recommend it. Another book that feels very fairy tale inspired is Once Upon a Broken Heart. This has vibes. This has the fairy tale atmosphere vibes. There is a young woman going on a journey to another kingdom. She crosses paths with the prince of this faraway kingdom. She crosses paths with this mysterious magician, magic user guy named Jax. She crosses paths with a bunch of different types of magical entities and beings. So it has the elements of a fairy tale, and the strongest part of the book for me really was just the atmosphere and being able to see it. And it looked to me, as I was imagining it in my mind, it looked like a fairy tale. Specifically, like a Barbie fairy tale. Like those Barbie movies from the early 2000s. It looks and feels like one of those. So if you love those and you love fairy tales, you're gonna love this book. This is right up your alley. Now I have a couple of middle grade / children's fairy tale recommendations that I just love and have loved since I was younger. The first one is The Princess Academy. This book is about a young girl who lives in this small town in this kingdom. This young girl, as a child, had some health issues, and so because of this, her father and her older sister are very protective over her. And one day, there's an announcement that goes across the kingdom. The prince is ready to get married, and he wants to marry somebody within his own kingdom from one of these small towns in the kingdom. And in order to prepare the girls in these towns to potentially be the princess of the kingdom, they create this Princess Academy where they're going to train all these women before they meet the prince. And so our character, Miri, goes to this academy. And let's just say that her strength is tested, and she turns out to be a lot stronger than people give her credit for, including her father and her older sister in this book once she goes to the Princess Academy. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil anything, but it is the beginning to any good prince and princess fairy tale. All right, the last recommendation I have for you is called The Ordinary Princess. This is a children's book. It's just over 100 pages. It's very short, but so cute and so sweet. It feels like a very traditional fairy tale, a Hans Christian Andersen or a Grimm's Brother fairy tale, but it's just a lot happier. It's a lot happier than those because we have a young princess, and in a very Sleeping Beauty-like way, when she is born, the king and queen invite everybody in the land to come see her when she is christened and named. And one of the fairies of the land decides to give her a gift. And the gift that she's given is to be ordinary. And while everybody else in her family is a little bit disappointed by this, a little bit disappointed that she wasn't blessed with perfectly golden curly hair or the most beautiful singing voice in the land, she's just happy. She's happy being just ordinary, being average, just your average girl. And I just love that. So if you need a reminder to appreciate the average, the ordinary, the mundane parts of your life, parts of yourself, whatever, this is just such a lovely, short little children's fairy tale about loving that and surrounding yourself with people who also love those things. So it's very cute. And those are all of the books that I have to recommend to you that feel like fairy tales but aren't retellings. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we do have another video all about fairy tale retellings, and if you would like to watch that now, you can click on the video right here. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble about books. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.